What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the top 10 clarinetists in jazz, round 3. I really want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for helping support the channel for as little as $1 a month. It really helps us put out these videos, and you can check out the perks with the link below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. The history of the jazz clarinet is so rich, and I've had a blast putting together videos talking about the greatest clarinetists in jazz with round 1 and round 2. It's so hard to put these clarinetists in order, but I did my best, and I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments below if I left anyone off. All of these clarinetists have very different styles, and I hope they represent the rich body of work that clarinetists have added to the idiom. Even after talking about 20 great jazz clarinet players, there are just so many that I couldn't get to. So let's get to the list. Coming in at number 10 for top 10 clarinetists in jazz, we have Acre Bilk. Acre Bilk was a British clarinetist and vocalist known for his breathy, vibrato-rich, lower register style, along with his distinctive visual appearance, complete with a goatee, bowler hat, and striped jacket. In 1962, he composed a melody dedicated to his daughter entitled Jenny. He recorded the song with the experimental use of a string ensemble. It caught the ear of producers, and he was asked to re-record it under the title Stranger on the Shore. The single was not only a big hit in the UK, but also topped the American charts and sold over 1 million copies. At the height of Bilk's international fame in the mid-60s, he appeared on television, in 2 theatrical motion pictures, and recorded a series of popular albums. Bilk was quoted as calling Stranger on the Shore my old age pension. But in 2012, he said he was fed up with playing it. This echoes the relationship between Artie Shaw and Cole Porter's Begin the Beguine. Coming in at number 9, we have George Lewis. George Lewis was a unique, expressive voice on the traditional Albert system clarinet. Although not a virtuoso like Sidney Bechet, Lewis's playing embodied the epitome of the bluesy New Orleans jazz sound. In the 30s, he started playing with a trumpeter named Bunk Johnson and became a member of his band until 1946. Lewis became a regular in the Bourbon Street clubs, and his reputation grew as a leader of the New Orleans jazz revival in the 1950s. By this time, he was recording regularly, traveling all over America, Europe, Japan, as well as the United Kingdom, joined by clarinetist Acre Bilk. In the 60s, he performed regularly in New Orleans as a leader of the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Coming in at number 8, we have Evan Christopher. Evan Christopher is one of the current-day leading voices of the clarinet, steeped in the tradition of authentic New Orleans jazz. His early mentors include clarinetists Kenny DeVerne, Tony Scott, and soprano saxophonist George Probert. For 3 years, Christopher was a member of the Jim Cullum Jazz Band in San Antonio, Texas. He returned to New Orleans until Hurricane Katrina hit and moved to Paris, forming 2 of his own ensembles, fusing gypsy jazz with New Orleans grooves. Christopher returned to New Orleans to teach at Tulane University and published research on the New Orleans style of clarinet. Christopher is now based in New York City and in demand worldwide as an expert clarinetist. Coming in at number 7, we have Kenny DeVerne. As a teenager, DeVerne was convinced to become a jazz musician after hearing clarinetist Pee Wee Russell. In 1954, he joined Jack Teagarden's band and went on to perform with Phil Napoleon, Henry Red Allen, Ralph Sutton, and Dick Wellstud. DeVerne cited classical clarinetist David Weber as his most important teacher. Although playing mainly in traditional settings, his musical interests encompassed a much broader range of styles, including his encyclopedic knowledge of classical music. In 1978, he collaborated with avant-garde players Steve Lacy, Steve Swallow, and Paul Motian on a free jazz album. DeVerne's rounded low register tone, combined with his ability to hit notes far above the conventional range of the clarinet, made his sound immediately recognizable. In '91, DeVerne co-created the group entitled Soprano Summit with Bob Wilber, enjoying a successful string of record dates and concerts for 6 years. Coming in at number 6, we have Jimmy Giuffre. Giuffre was an arranger, performer on many woodwind instruments, and a pioneer of free improvisation. He first became known as an arranger for Woody Herman's band, for which he composed 4 brothers. He was a central figure in West Coast jazz and cool jazz, writing creative and unusual arrangements for band leaders including Shorty Rogers. Giuffre formed trios collaborating with Jim Hall, Paul Bley, and Steve Swallow, with music that was reserved and quiet pre-jazz chamber music. In the 70s, Giuffre's taught private lessons, ensembles, and composition at New York University. Coming in at number 5, we have Omar Simon. Simon learned clarinet from the New Orleans musician Lorenzo Tio. He worked in Chicago and Milwaukee with various bands, and at age 24 he joined Jelly Roll Morton's Red Hot Peppers. The next year he moved to New York City to join King Oliver. Later, he had a 10-year stint with Earl Hines and worked with Coleman Hawkins and Jimmy Lunsford. After some recordings with Kid Ory's band, Simon spent most of the 50s with Wilbur de Paris. He's well known for playing a duet with Louis Armstrong on saxophone on the song entitled Skokian. Coming in at number 4, we have Peanuts Hucka. Hucka served in the Glenn Miller Army Air Force Band in Europe during World War II. After the war, he played with Benny Goodman, Eddie Condon, and Jack Teagarden, and then joined the Louis Armstrong All-Stars from 1958 until 1960. Hucka led his own group at Eddie Condon's club from 64 until 66, and in the 70s he led the Glenn Miller Orchestra and toured with them across the U.S. Coming in at number 3, we have Pee Wee Russell. From his earliest years playing music, Russell's style was distinctive. The notes and sounds he produced were somewhat unorthodox when compared to his contemporaries. He began his career playing New Orleans jazz, but then started incorporating newer developments such as swing, bebop, and free jazz. By the mid-1920s, Russell was a sought-after jazz clarinetist and worked with Jack Teagarden, Frankie Trumbauer, Bix Beiderbecke, and Red Nichols. From the 40s onwards, Russell's health was often poor, exacerbated by alcoholism, which led to a major breakdown in 1951. In his last decade, Russell often played at jazz festivals and international tours organized by producer George Wein. Coming in at number 2, we have Russell Procope. Procope grew up in New York City, where he attended high school with Benny Carter. By the time he was in his 20s, he was playing with Jelly Roll Morton, Benny Carter, Chick Webb, Fletcher Henderson, and King Oliver. By 30, he gained notoriety by joining the John Kirby Sextet on alto saxophone. After serving in the U.S. Armed Forces in World War II, Procope replaced Otto Hardwick in Duke Ellington's band, staying loyal to Ellington for the next 28 years. Procope's woody, understated clarinet solos were a warm contrast to Jimmy Hamilton's cheerful clarinet playing. Duke Ellington said, "Russell Procope was an utterly sober and reliable musician, always to be depended upon." Before we get to number 1 in this top 10 jazz clarinetists round 3, we have an honorable mention, and that's Leon Rapallo. At 15, Leon decided to leave home to travel with the band of B. Palmer, which soon became the New Orleans Rhythm Kings. The Rhythm Kings, along with King Oliver's band, was one of the best regarded hot jazz bands in Chicago in the early 1920s. Rapallo's style influenced many younger Chicago musicians, most notably Benny Goodman. Many consider Rapallo's early recordings with the Rhythm Kings to be the first recorded jazz solos. He did have a violent temper and often exhibited eccentric behavior, as he went into a mental hospital at age 23. And finally, coming in at number 1 for top 10 clarinetists in jazz, we have Irving Fizzola. Playing professionally at only 15 in New Orleans, the young Fizzola was influenced heavily by Leon Rapallo. He joined the Ben Pollock Band, then Glenn Miller and Bob Crosby. By this time, he had become famous, ranking as the top clarinetist in Downbeat magazine in 1940 and 41. Fizzola drank heavily, which contributed to his weight and fatal heart attack at age 36. Fizzola influenced many great clarinetists, including Pete Fountain. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the list. I had a blast putting it together and learning so much about these lesser known clarinetists in jazz. Comment down below if I missed anyone that I should have included, or if you have any ideas about other lists that you'd like us to explore. Thanks so much again to all of our Patreon supporters. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.